Happy 2026. If you're watching this, it's because I decided that it's time for me to, do this burden that I've been feeling for a while, sharing my story, sharing my testimony, sharing God's grace, sharing God's mercy. And I feel like there's a lot of women like me out there that you're scared, and that's okay because I'm in your shoes too. If you could feel my heartbeat right now, you would know that I'm very, very nervous. I think this burden has been on my heart for a while, but I was not in a place where I was able to share it. And honestly, this podcast is going to be very raw. It's going to be very real. It's going to be very authentic. I'm not the best at tech. I'm not the best at anything. And we'll see where this goes. I think that this is going to be very it could be a short series. It could be, we'll just see. But I do feel like there are people out there that need some guidance. I think a lot of things are missing in my generation as far as church culture and um, preparing people for the real world. I'm 28. I'm divorced. I was raised in church. I moved across the whole country um, to be with the love of my life and my person. Um, and it didn't work out. Um, and I'm ready to talk about it because honestly, there are people out there that's going through worse. And there are people that are going through the same thing. And I think that I think it's okay to be vulnerable and to talk about your story and talk about things that happened to you. I think that when people silence you, that's when the enemy's won. That's when when you feel like you don't have a voice, that is when, you know, the insecurities come in. Your doubts, your questioning your worth, your value, who you are. I mean, you can agree to disagree, and that's fine. Um, but yeah, I am, excuse me, I am 28 years old. You can't let that stop. Um, and apostolic Pentecostal. I don't think this is um I think that this is a part of my healing journey. I think that I can't control things that I've been through. I can't control things that happen to me, but I can choose to control how I heal from them and what I share with other people. And I think what hurt me the most and why I was silenced for so long is because I just figured people would just know. People don't need to ask questions. They can just watch and observe and then, see what happened. And I'm not doing this to talk about and bring up garbage and let the past in the past, all that stuff. No, like church culture, the whole forgive and forget thing, that's not Bible. If you look at Bible, the Old Testament, the New Testament, Jesus is constantly bringing up elders of the church and stories and Abraham and Moses and Isaac. He's the God of all of that. So he's constantly bringing up the past to make way for the future. And one of these days, I might not be here, and these stories might help somebody else. And if that's, what this does, this nervousness and my heart racing right now and feeling like I'm out of breath, um, if that's what happens out of this, then, that's gonna be cool. Um, Honestly, who I was 2 years ago, who I was 5 years ago, who I was 2 months ago, I'm not the same person. Um, I'm far from it, and I I've grown in some areas. In some areas, I feel like I've gotten weaker. I think at the beginning of my story and my trial, I had complete faith that everything was going to be okay. I had a miracle happen throughout my story. Um, but I will say, the the further I've gotten away from my story and what happened, the harder it has become to trust God. Um, I just want this to be a vulnerable place. If you have questions, ask them. Um, if you agree or disagree, tell me. If you want to hate, go for it. I'm blunt, I'm raw, I'm very real. What you see is what you get type of personality, and I know not everybody can, deal with that. Goodness knows I know, because I grew up in a family, like my sisters, both my sisters are very, like, you know, they're very meek and mild and can be just, eh, different. I kind of grew up kind of the, if someone's going to speak her mind, it's going to be Kirsten. Um, Personality, and that's just that's just me. Um, yeah, I think this is going to be fun. Still nervous about it, but I look forward to talking and sharing and being with you for 2026, and we'll see what happens. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna edit any of this or do anything like that, because personally, like I said, I'm not very good at it, and I don't really know what I'm doing when it comes to doing all of that. It's very hard because I feel like I know my goals and what I want this to be. And I hope that maybe I've kind of shared or intrigued you a little bit about what it is my burden is for this podcast, um, for these short stories. Hopefully, I've done my part and made you curious. Um, we'll just leave it at that, because I feel like that's good. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just gonna have fun with this. Um, there's gonna be some tea telling. There's gonna be real stories that happen, my side, if you will. Also, you know, I've heard the whole like just wait and see, like, when bad things happen to people, just watch and observe and see which one's quiet, which one goes on. No, no, not my story. The reason why my story probably ended up the way it did is because I did that. I kept it in, and I didn't tell people that I should have, because I did try to. I tried to tell people that I thought were on my side and that were going to help. They ended up not. Um, told them 3 times. Anyways, um, it's hard. It's hard out here being a woman with a past, anything like our church culture. Anyways, I'm watching the timer. It looks like I've been going for almost 12 minutes. So I'm going to stop yapping now. But just know this, there's not going to be any holding back. I'm going to tell it like it is. That's me. That's my personality. What you see is what you get. I'm not holding back. I'm sharing the whole truth. I have the receipts. Um, yeah. And I struggle. I mean, I struggle. I struggle with faith. I struggle with life. I struggle with confidence. I struggle with being real. I struggle with being authentic. We live in a culture and a world that is constantly pushing the false narrative of what an ideal life is. And it's not life. Life is hard and life is tough, especially in our church. I feel like, and please know I say this with all love and respect, we have women sitting around waiting to get married. We have women sitting around waiting for their person. We have women that once they do find their person, they create this false narrative of a world that isn't real, a false narrative of a world that does not exist. And please know that I say this with all love and respect. We're in this world, we're not of it. That's what the Bible says. Let's be clear about that. But at the same time, that's why if you find yourself struggling with connecting to people in the world and struggling to create friends and have a good experience in the workplace, our church culture has made it acceptable to be weird, to live in this false narrative of what you think a Christian life should be. And I think that that's why I feel like church culture is struggling to gain souls, struggling to not have revival like we desperately want. What you see is what you get. Social media, even blogs, YouTube channels, podcasts, it is not real life in real world. Are you okay, Libby? She hit her head. Um, when we have those church cultures and those families that push just being weird, different, girls like me, girls younger than me, look up and think that that's what their life is supposed to be like. And it's not. I've had conversations with people at work. I've had conversations with people outside of church or that used to be in church. And their number one thing was it was just fake. People create their own little world and they don't accept anybody else in. I feel lonely sometimes, a lot of times. I feel like I don't have friends. I feel like I don't have people that I connect with. Now I don't even know where this video is going. But just know these are a lot of topics that I would like to talk about and discuss further throughout these videos. Um, so, yeah. I don't even really have a name for this. I just know I just want to share from my heart. I don't know, maybe that's it. Kirsten's heart. I don't know. In my little corner in my room. Anyways, I love you guys. I hope you guys have a wonderful 2026 and let's talk about things. Let's be real. Let's be vulnerable. There's some podcasts out there created by church people. I just can't relate to that. I just can't relate to all the fluff and the nonsense. Give me real, give me raw, give me blunt. Say it like it is. Call it weird if it's weird. Call it real if it's real. Call it just be normal. The world has enough clones. Just be you. Don't let anybody tell you any different. Don't let anybody try to change you. God created you the way He wanted to create you, and I'm not interested in going to church with 100 people, 100 women that are just all the same, or 100 men that are just all the same. I'm not interested in working in a workplace where everybody thinks the same. That's not growth. No, tell me what I'm doing wrong. Tell me if you have a problem with me. Come to my face. Don't talk about me behind my back. Yeah, and I'm staying true to what I feel by doing this. So, anyways, again, for the fourth time, have a great 2026. And I look forward to talking to you and sharing more and all that. I'm gonna make Lady say bye. Say bye, Lady. She's sniffing it. She doesn't know what to do. But anyways, love you guys and I'll talk to you next time.